What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So the other day I tweeted about how the mother's energy while pregnant can affect the baby, and that is why in many cultures mothers are treated with such care and love by their family. So that way a lot of care and love is going into the baby's energy. And a lot of people had comments about that and wanted to know more about that. So here we are. We're going to talk about motherhood in astrology, family dynamics in astrology, and just a little bit more about all that. Now, before we get into your moon sign and what that says about your mother, I think it's important that you listen to this first part so you have an understanding of the energy of a family and how that is being passed down and how it's all kind of woven together. So we obviously know how babies are made, right? You know, if you don't know, you're too young, get out of here. But we obviously know how babies are made. And essentially, you have the DNA of the father, and that would have a certain vibration to it, a certain hum to it. And then you have the DNA of the mother, and that has a certain vibration and a certain hum to it. And then that energy comes together and creates a harmonization. All right. And that harmonization creates a organic, complex, crystallized version of the two parents' energies and DNA. And that is that is the baby. And that baby has its own vibration that it gives off to the cosmos, and it picks up on other vibrations as well. So essentially, we are crystallized versions of our parents and their DNA and their energy. And so every family has a certain hum to it and a certain vibration to it. And that is passed down through the genes and through DNA. And it's interesting when we look at human design, you will see that in human design there is the yin crystal, and that is ruled by the Ajna center, which rules over the design of the person, the body, the biogenetic vehicle. So your mother would rule your design, your body, your biogenetic vehicle, your Ajna center. And then the yang crystal would rule over your personality, the head center, who you think you are. So that is the responsibility and energy that you pull from your father, is that personality and who you think you are. Isn't that interesting? And so our mother, which is going to be our focus for this video, we're going to get into more of the mother's energy and how that is affecting you. Your mother's energy while pregnant could affect, and her overall DNA could affect your body's natural equilibrium, its natural state of being, and your body's language of communicating to itself, to you, and your organic nature. All right, who you are by design. That is that's coming from the mother's energy. And it's very interesting. I was watching this YouTube video that had a guest, Rick Levine, on it. I'll link it down below in case you want to watch it. I recommend you do after this video. It's really, really good, really informative. He breaks it down really easy, but Rick Levine talks about the possibility, or he says that it's not even a possibility, it's actually the truth. He says that it is not the mother that will induce labor. It is the fetus. It is the fetus. So the fetus will release pitocin, or pitocin is what it's called. Pitocin it will release that, and that acts as a messenger protein, an endocrine, that gives the mother's body a signal, hey, let's go into labor, I'm ready to come out. So if, like an example, the fetus is not inducing that labor, they will inject you with Pitocin to induce it. So the mother is not the one that decides when that messenger protein comes out. Essentially, it's the fetus that will induce that. And so he got into this theory that I thought was so interesting of a prenatal fetal consciousness. A prenatal fetal consciousness. Okay, let me have a freaking sip of coffee real quick before we get into all that. Talking about occult stuff is always so fun. You're like, what am I even getting into? Anyways, but the idea is, we think that while the baby is in the stomach and that it's in the womb and that it's, not out yet, we think that the baby doesn't have sensory or that it doesn't have a consciousness. But something that I remember that was really interesting was my cousin, while she was pregnant, she was just walking around Target and she was just looking at the food. She was going down every aisle, looking at all the food, holding her tummy. And I'm like, are you going to pick something yet? And she's like, I'm waiting for him to tell me what he wants. And I thought that was just the weirdest thing. Like, you're waiting for the baby in your womb to tell you what it wants to eat. And she's like, yeah, he'll like crave something. I just know it's him craving it, not me. And I'm like, okay. So she's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for him to tell me what he wants. And I thought that was so interesting. And then, while I'm doing research on family astrology, I come across Rick Levine, who's talking about fetal consciousness. And so he talks about how, yes, we think the fetus has no sensory mechanisms, but it is. If we think about it, it's floating around in this sac, and that in its own, it's vibrating in its own way. That in its own way is an energy, and it's giving off energies, and it can sense energies. And what he talked about was that the baby is like a surfer waiting for the right wave to ride into earth. All right. When we think about a surfer, the surfer is not out here riding every wave. It is waiting for this exact moment. It says, I better come out now if I want to be a freaking, Gemini rising. A couple more minutes and I'm going to end up a Cancer rising. I got to come out now. It's literally waiting for that right wave to ride out into earth so it can play a certain storyline, so it can have a certain vibration, a certain hum. And that vibration, that hum, that's the birth chart that we see. And so it is believed that, as a fetus, you chose your parents. You said, these are the two people that's going to get me a certain storyline, so that way I am able to do this while I'm on earth. So you choose a certain set of people. And Rick Levine in the video talked about how he had a past life reading, and that the reader actually told him that while he was still just a soul and he was about to go into the womb, and he chose his parents, that womb actually got snatched up. Like someone got there before he did, and he last minute had to choose a different womb. And he thought that was so interesting when the past life reader told him that, because he feels like the oddball out in his family. So in terms of family dynamics and family energy, I think, yes, it is possible to have a different hum still than your family. But even that is for a reason. Even that is for a particular reason. So when we are looking at a family's astrology and, we lay out all the charts and we're dissecting it, we want to look at the similar patterns, yes, but we also want to look at what's different. Where did the pattern break and why? Or how did the pattern change and what did it change into? So those are all things we can see within your family's ancestry. if we look at everyone's charts. It's so interesting. So even the family itself can have its own energy, right? And so usually we have families that are tapped into kind of one or the other. So in terms of family energies, everything in this world exists in a polarity. You have black and white, but then you have all the combinations in between. So I have black and white, and we have a rainbow of color in between. And so energy is kind of the same way. So like a family can be tapped into fear, or it can be tapped into love. But maybe it's tapped into love, but it's more on the negative sides of love, like enmeshment, being overbearing. Or maybe it's tapped into fear, but it's tapped into the more positive sides of fear, where, the family is very courageous and always looking to overcome certain fears or something. So, the family's energy can fall into a spectrum. It's not just necessarily black and white. But it's interesting to think, does your family tap into fear, or does it tap into love? Is it a more open family where everyone's kind of free and everyone does what they want? Or is it a more closed family where it's more strict and it's enmeshed? What is the spectrum of possibilities here? Is it more Uranian, or is it more Neptunian? And I believe that that concept actually comes from the book Dynasty. Rick Levine was mentioning it in the video. But there's a book, I think, called Dynasty by Aaron something. I'll link that down below as well in case you want to check that out and do, more research on family dynamics and by reading that book. But it's interesting. Another thing I noted too is that it's not uncommon to have families with like similar birthdays, or families that have like a bunch of elements, or like who are dominantly a certain element, or families who are dominantly a certain sign. So an example, in my birthday, we have so many people, like basically a few in every generation, that is born from July 7th. That is born either July 7th or July 14th. So we have 2 people born July 7th. We have 2 people born July 14th. There is a consistent element of water energy in my family. Everyone's basically got water somewhere in their chart. And there's definitely a lot of Cancer as well, and a lot of Scorpio. We have a lot of Pisces. It's fun. So it's interesting to see the similar energies within families. But you could definitely be born into a family where you're born into a bunch of water signs and then you're the earth sign. That's possible too, and your soul chose that path for a reason. And that will also, an astrologer can look in and see how that is changing the family hum, and maybe why. Maybe the astrologer can help you figure out why your soul wanted to be born in a family that had such a different resonance than you. It's interesting. Or you could have families where everyone on the line has such a similar resonance, has such a similar vibe, and that's how you get families that are in politics, all of them, or families that are all in the medical field, or families that are all in the arts, a long line of construction workers. That's how you can sort of start to see these legacies being built. And just trying to see if there's anything else. So one thing that I think is important to understand too are karmic relationships and how and what that is. So essentially, a karmic relationship, first you have karma, and karma is a web of invisible patterns. All right, that's binding certain things together, or binding certain humans together, or binding certain events together. So a karmic relationship is just that. It is a relationship that is bound together by this invisible pattern. So we can also kind of see, what is the family karma? What is the family's invisible pattern that is maybe binding all of these souls together? And what is that teaching everyone exactly? And what does that tell us about how these souls attract things in? So that's also something we could see when we're looking at family dynamics, when we're looking at, mother to child, or mother to father, or siblings, or whatever. And another thing that's important to know is that even if you leave a karmic relationship but you haven't learned that lesson, the pattern will still continue. We haven't been made aware of the pattern. We haven't been working with the pattern, so it's going to continue as is. And what that can indicate is that there's some type of master program that choreographs this pattern, that makes sure certain people stay binded together, that makes sure certain people meet, and that they're there at the right time to experience certain events. Fate, we'll call that master program faith. We'll call that master program the universe. It's very interesting. And so also what's interesting is I'm a past life reader. I love, love, love doing past life readings. If you ever want to book a reading with me, by the way, just check out my website down below. But one thing that we could see with karma and stuff is past life, maybe within families as well, and past life habits of certain families and like dynasties. And with past life, whenever you're recalling something of past life, you're always going to be recalling details that are resonant to your current story. If a past life information is not necessarily relevant to your current story, probably is not going to be accessed. I mean, the art of it is to recall certain details that are resonant with the current story, but you can even see that within a whole family as well. And something that I can go on and on just about karmic relationships and how it is that people are drawn to each other and find each other. But then this video is going to be super long because I also want to get into all the zodiac signs. So if you would like me to dive deeper on karmic relationships in general, because I feel like that could be a whole video on its own, let me know, because that'll be super fun. But anyways, we are going to get into your moon sign and what that says about your mother now. So just to recap about what we were talking about, the mother represents, mother represents moon in astrology. Think about it like moon and mom, M-O-N versus M-O-O-N, very similar. Mother can arguably maybe have been derived from the word moon. But moon in astrology is going to represent your mother and the energy of the mother and how you're viewing your mother and the energy that you are taking in from her to create yourself while you were in her womb. What is getting crystallized about her? What is it about you what is it about her that is getting crystallized into you and becoming a part of your design, your ajna center, your body, your biogenetic vehicle, your subconscious, your emotions, your deep, sense of or deep need for nourishment, whatever it is that the moon is ruling in astrology and human design or whatever system you're using. That is what an astrologer can use that to get information on your mother. So when we are diving into the moon signs, into your moon signs, we're going to take a look at your subconscious. All right. How is the mother affecting the mental plane? Your, emotional response to the world. How is your mother affecting the emotional plane? In your design, the intuitive abilities, how is the mother affecting the spiritual plane of your design? And then your actual, physical body. What does it say about your equilibrium and your natural state of being and your organic self? That shows how the mother is affecting your physical plane. So your mother affects everything about you: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical self in some type of way. And we're going to be diving deep into that now. So watch for your moon sign. You could watch for your mother's moon sign, and that would tell you about grandma. You could watch for grandma's moon sign, and that would tell you about great grandma. And it'll just go back and back and back. And I really hope that this video just helps you understand, your matriarchal line in your family and what is being passed down. Take note of the patterns. Take notes of the similarities. You can add sisters into it, aunties into it. You can, add your siblings if you want. Let's go ahead and get into it. So watch for your moon sign. Also, take only what resonates. this might not be 100% accurate because I would need to look at your personal chart and what's aspecting the moon and what degree it's at and whatnot in order to get a really accurate interpretation of your mother and the relationship and karmas within your family. So take this with a grain of salt, take what resonates. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alrighty, so if you have moon in Aries, one thing we can see is that your mother may have been someone who is very blunt or bossy or domineering, likes to tell everybody what to do and when to do it, and she wants you to do it right now. And so that could maybe affect your subconscious in a sense where you can maybe be bossy and hard on yourself. And you can maybe put that kind of pressure on yourself subconsciously, and then maybe things don't get done because, we defy our mother's domineering energy in real life. So then we defy the domineering energy in our subconscious mind. So that's just one way that this could manifest. Or maybe your mother was someone who was unknowingly domineering in a way where she would just enter people's spaces, walk into people's rooms without knocking first, or enter a conversation that has nothing to do with her and she wasn't necessarily invited in. There could be this just domineering energy. So maybe subconsciously you could be like that. This could also show that while your mother was pregnant with you, she could have been very impulsive and very demanding. If she was craving donuts, you better bring her that donut right now or she's going to get pissed off. And so you could maybe be someone who's not very patient. You could be someone who might also be impulsive, and when you want something right now, because maybe when your mother was pregnant with you and you had cravings, or she had cravings, those needs needed to get met right away. Otherwise, the emotional response could come in. And with an Aries moon, you may have had a mother who had to be very protective, had to be very maybe aggressive. Maybe she was living in dog conditions, or she was competing for work, or maybe she was fighting with people while she was pregnant. And so you could also have a mother who has that mother bear energy and does not let people mess with you. If someone messed with you, she would go to the school and go say something to that kid, right? And you could also have an emotional response where you fight back. If anything threatens you, if anything messes with you, you are not afraid to fight back and assert yourself and get aggressive. The Aries energy, it does not suppress. It lets it out. And so you could also have a body that is very action oriented, on the go, likes to be stimulated, likes to keep it moving, otherwise it gets pent up. And your mother, while pregnant, maybe she was just always on the move, always busy, always was working for something, or always exercising, or was always going on hikes, adventures or something, but she was always on the go. So that energy went into you, and now you have an action oriented body. And when you're not taking enough action, you can start to feel pent up, and that's when the aggression can build, and it will need to eventually pop off. The volcano will need to need to erupt. So we could see that, one of the reasons maybe you chose your mother is because you needed to learn lessons on just that, on getting aggressive and knowing when to get aggressive and stand up for yourself and fight for yourself and protect yourself, or when to fight for something that you believe in, or how to say that you want something and you need something and you need it right now and not feel bad about that. That might have been why you chose your mother, so you could learn those lessons. And in your bloodline, you probably have women who are dominating, women who are the dominant figure, in the household. So the partners of those women are probably people who like to just sit back and, let the women in your family do their thing. They like to just sit back, and they kind of like to be dominated. You may have a matriarchal bloodline that is angry. That is something also to maybe address and heal, is any anger in the bloodline of the women in your family. And odds are to you maybe needed to learn lessons about boundaries and respecting people's boundaries, and making sure other people respect yours and are considerate of you as well. Also, confidence in having the confidence to take charge and to stand up to yourself, and to, have your needs be met, and how to demand those needs, and how to stand up for what you believe in. So those are just a few things that we could see about your mother and your mother's energy while pregnant, and how that may have affected you on a subconscious level, internal level, emotional level, bodily level. And in terms of like spiritual and maybe intuitive gifts that you may have gotten from your mother, you just may be very street smart. Aries energy is very street smart, and you could also just be intuitively tapped into like how to win, how to get ahead of the game, how to stay on top. That could be just some natural gifts there that you may have gotten from your mother. And like I said, take only what resonates. Your entire chart would need to be taken into consideration in order for you to get a 100% accurate reading. And if you'd like to book readings with me, you can check out my links down below. But I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time. Bye. Hello, Taurus moon. So if you were a Taurus moon, we can see that you had a mother who very much stuck to what she knows. She maybe had to grow up fast and did not prioritize fun. So now you could be someone who prioritizes having fun, who prioritizes your independence, who prioritizes getting out of the comfort zone. Maybe while your mother was pregnant with you, she maybe was very focused on building stable ground for you, very focused on fixing her relationship with money. She really wanted to be a strong material support for you, making sure that you have the food you need, the home you need, the clothes you need, and everything like that. So you may have like a subconscious and an inner world that is dependent on that. Like your sense of inner peace comes from knowing that you have a strong material foundation for yourself to fall back on. If anything happens, you have the savings. If anything happens, you have extra clothes. If anything happens, you have a go bag, full of food and everything you need. You also, even though you may be someone who wants to go past the comfort zone and wants to adventure, it could be this subconscious background need where you are looking for that stable ground. You are looking for that home base, a safe and comfortable home base. While your mother was pregnant with you, she maybe would have loved shopping and cooking and eating and sleeping and traveling. Or even if that wasn't what she was able to do, because she may have also been so focused on you and making sure that you had everything you need, she may have pushed her own self to the side. There still was that want to go shopping and to cook and to sleep all day and eat. And if she had the pleasure of doing that, awesome. But either way, that want is put into you. So now you could have that emotional response. If anything is going wrong, you maybe just want to shop and ignore it, or you want to sleep and ignore it, or you want to travel and escape the issue. There could be like that way of coping there. You're also subconsciously could be constantly looking for the approval of like women in your life or your mother in particular. Maybe because when she disapproved of something, like that feeling was just so heavy. You did not want to feel it. You did not ever want her to disapprove of anything. And that could have caused you to hide yourself a little bit from her, and maybe hide yourself a little bit from people because you don't want people to disapprove of you. We could see that your like natural state of being is to be relaxed and like having fun and being in a place of pleasure. You don't really want to be in situations where it's stressing you out. You will avoid that. You will run from that. You will block that out. You prefer things to be, you know, like I said, you would prefer the vibe of shopping, cooking, eating, sleeping, not drama and fighting and chaos and loud noises and stuff like that. It's probably not where your body's natural state of being wants to like organically be. You would prefer to be like in your room, playing music, dancing around, being in your own good vibes, you know? Some spiritual abilities you could have gotten from your mother was strong 5 senses. Like your mother may have been someone who was very good at hearing, could hear anywhere from like across the room. She heard you. Or maybe your mother was like always up to something. Maybe she was always up to something, and so you developed the senses to pick up on what she's up to. So you would pick up on hearing her across the room. You know, you hear her on the phone fighting with dad, and your ears go up and you start listening in. Either way, whoever your mother is helped you develop those strong 5 senses. And it's those 5 senses that make you such a good manifester, that make you very good at taking something from the spiritual realm and making it real. You are also maybe good with music or good with words. That could be another ability for you. Words are spells. And just because Taurus is ruled by the throat, and your mom may have taught you a lesson about how impactful words can be. And so within your bloodline here, at least from mom to you, we could see lessons of getting out of your comfort zone, but also getting comfortable as well, and stable, but also getting out of your comfort zone, knowing when and having a balance. Being your own person and not needing approval from anybody. That's another one. Accomplishments as well, being okay with your accomplishments and not needing the approval of someone else, going out there and accomplishing things for yourself and not to make someone else proud. Getting comfortable with change, like I said, trusting in those changes, trusting in that we can't hold on to something forever. That could have been a lesson you learned from your mother, was this energy holding. Maybe she was always holding on to material things, or holding on to the past, or holding on to money, or holding on to you. So there is now a lesson there about holding. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Take what resonates. You know, in order for us to get a 100% accurate reading for you, we would need to look at your own personal birth chart and the aspects and the degrees and all that good stuff. But I still hope that you enjoyed this, and that you were able to take something from this. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content. I would love to hear your thoughts too, so comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right, see you next time. Hello, Gemini moons. Welcome to your video. So you have a Gemini moon. That means your mother maybe was always on the go while she was pregnant with you, always talking to people, moving around, maybe was working quite a bit, or had a lot of hobbies while she was pregnant with you. And so that could create an internal world or a subconscious that needs a lot of stimulus, and that also needs to like always have a hobby, always be moving, always be busy. Otherwise, when you get still, you can feel like you just start to sink, and we don't like that. When you were out of the womb, your mother maybe could have paid attention to so many other things, like those hobbies or a relationship or whatever. instead of paying attention to you. It kind of felt like you would get a little bit of her attention, but then she would move on to the next, thing that she wanted to do that day, and so on and so on. Didn't feel like you really had her for long enough. And we could see here that there is very strong communication with you and your mother. Maybe you were able to tell her things other people couldn't tell their mothers, or it could be strong communication, like your mother had a very sharp tongue and was sharp with her words, and you were also sharp with your words back. There was maybe like mean conversation going on. The mother, maybe she was like there for you materially and logically, but maybe not there spiritually or emotionally. And this could have been because your mother maybe wasn't good at talking about her own feelings, and maybe she wasn't good at examining herself on a deep level. So it was hard for her to talk about your feelings or to examine you on a deep level. And going back to the point too, where maybe while your mother was pregnant with you, she was always on the go. Maybe now your natural state of being in your body has a lot of energy. You could be someone who has a lot of energy, could, party all night and be the last one home, could work a lot, or this could be strong mental energy. You could just get through anything. It's hard to put you down. It's hard to keep you down. You could also, again, just be someone who maybe is a jack of many trades, because you had a mother who was doing so many different things while pregnant. So you could have that ability of being very good with your hands. And in terms of spiritual abilities that your mother may have given you, she may have been someone who's very good at reading or writing. So now you could have a spiritual ability of like automatic writing, which is where you get like a feeling or a download and you just write it out. You don't think too much. You just write the first things that come to your brain and let your hand move. Or you could be someone who just gets really good, really strong, clear flashes of insight. You could be someone who's good at scripting. Yeah. And if your mother was a heavy reader or writer, she probably had a really busy mind then. So then another one of your body's just naturals, kind of like default settings would be then having a very busy mind. And so we would want to work on quieting that. So maybe some things we could see in the bloodline would be quieting down the mind, relaxing the mind. You could come from a long line of women who are very smart, very well educated, or very sharp, very witty, or very handy, good at like fixing things, good with their hands. Your bloodline could maybe need to work on communicating their emotional needs. So your matriarchal bloodline maybe needs to get better at communicating their emotional needs and examining themselves on that deeper level, because one thing we could see is if you don't examine yourself on a deeper level, problems build, whether it's emotional problems in the family bloodline, health problems, spiritual problems, mental problems. It needs to, we need to examine ourselves deeply in order to assess that and pluck that out and start to heal that. So that could be something that, you are maybe meant to work on. Also, just unblocking your emotions. You could have been born into a family line where the emotions are a little bit blocked, or pushed to the side, or not trusted when, over logic and their own minds. So you maybe are meant to recognize that and learn from that as well. All right, Geminis, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this. Do keep in mind that to take only what resonates, because I would need to take a look at your personal chart in order to get a reading that is 100% accurate, but do take what resonates, and I hope this helped you connect with your matriarchal bloodline a little bit more. Don't forget to give this video a like and comment. Let me know what you think of it. Also, if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can check out my links down below. All right, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Welcome, Cancer moons. So, the fact that your moon is in Cancer would tell an astrologer that your mother may have been a very emotional and intuitive person. She maybe took care of a lot of other people while she was pregnant with you. She was maybe taking care of her she would be taking care of her circle. Could have been her parents, her siblings, her friends. Maybe were crashing on her couch during that time. Maybe she was working as a caretaker of some sort, but she was very loving and nurturing and giving to people. Even if she herself was hurting, she would put that to the side to take care of other people, to make sure that you had everything you needed, and that you had food on the table, and that you went to bed on time and had clean clothes to wear. And so she was just the mama bear of everyone around her. And so you could have an internal natural state of being that is similar, where you maybe had to take care of other people. You know, she taught you to love other people. She taught you to take other people in. If somebody needs something, help them. She maybe passed that on to you. And so you could be a very emotionally intuitive person. You could be a very empathic person. You could sort of pick up on other people's small changes in energy, small changes in tone, small changes in mannerisms. You're very good at reading that. You could also have a need, like a natural need for that kind of comfort that your mother gave you, that just unconditional love. That could be something that you maybe subconsciously look for. And you, I think, are also maybe somebody who learned the skills of motherhood very early on. Things like cooking, you learned very early, cleaning very early, just kind of like taking care of yourself and other people. You learn that. You could be someone who's very affectionate as well, loves hugs, loves to give kisses, loves a good time, loves to laugh. There could be like almost like a childlike energy to you. And you could also be like the mama bear of your friend group. You know, when everybody's out drinking, you're like, everyone's got a ride home, right? Everyone's got an Uber, everyone's drinking water, everyone's safe, right? Like, you could be that person always looking out for everybody. And so a spiritual ability you would have would be the ability of you are empathic. So you can take on the emotions of other people very easily, and you feel what other people are feeling. You could feel an animal, what that animal's feeling. You can feel the plants and what the plant is even feeling, anything that's alive. And so you want to be mindful of that, and also just careful that you know what emotions are actually yours versus what emotions are not yours, because this type of ability can be very draining. Another thing that you're good at doing is reading the vibe of the place that you're in. If something's got a crappy vibe, a weird vibe, you're like, nope. You could be that person where if like you're with people who are house hunting, you'll be like, I don't like the vibe of this place. Like, the feng shui is off. There's just something weird about it. You could be very good at reading that. Because Cancer kind of rules over homes and lands, owns land, especially by like families and stuff. Your bloodline, in terms of your bloodline, you could have a bloodline of women who are always putting other people before themselves, even to a point where it becomes detrimental to their own selves, to a point where they feel like they're so drained or tired or never have enough love to give themselves. So that could be something that you are meant to learn and break. You could also be redefining the meaning of unconditional love, and if unconditional love is something that can exist for you or not. Also creating an identity outside of your family, while respecting the roots of your family and understanding the roots of your family and empathizing with the roots of your family. Anytime I see Cancer energy in someone's chart, especially when it's something as strong as the moon or the sun or the rising or the Mars even, I think that this person reincarnated to do healing in the family bloodline, to recognize where we're repeating certain patterns that are detrimental to the family bloodline, and to be appalled by that and to decide to change that and to take action towards changing that. Something about you is very naturally healing and naturally healing. So even your energy and your presence, people may describe you as someone who is warm, someone who is comforting, someone who they feel like they can rely on, you know. So that's a very interesting vibe. And you maybe come from a long line of women who have that vibe, and maybe the women in your family have like lifelong friends, people who would ride for them, people who call them family. Like they may have a lot of other non-blood people that they call family. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Please take only what resonates. Of course, these are generalizations, and I would need to look at your entire chart in order to give you a 100% accurate reading. But I still hope that you enjoyed this and that you were able to take something from this. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also comment down below and let me know if that was accurate, and what your mother is like and what your moon sign is. I would love to read through and just take further notes on this subject. But yeah, thanks for listening. See you next time. Hello, Leo moon. So if you have a Leo moon, you may have had a mother that got a lot of attention while she was pregnant for you, and that could have been attention for her creativity. Maybe she was in like the dramatic arts or in music, you know, people were attracted to her skills, or maybe she was very pretty, or maybe she just had a very warm, welcoming kind of energy, or she could have been like domineering even in a way, but probably more so the other things that I mentioned. But your mother maybe got a lot of attention while she was pregnant with you, and that could then create a fetus or you that maybe has a need for recognition now, that has a need to be seen. And your mother, maybe once you were out, took a lot of pride in you. Maybe kind of told you, you need to always look good, dress good, get good grades, blah, blah, blah. You represent me, so you need to look good because I need to look good. That kind of energy. So then you could have this internal need to just make your mother proud and to get her approval. Another thing I could see here is maybe while your mother was pregnant with you, she got pampered a lot, or enjoyed to get pampered, wanted the royal treatment, wanted to be taken care of all the time while she was pregnant with you. So maybe you could be somebody who also likes that, likes to be taken care of, or just likes to splurge, or likes to be served. Likes to go out to eat for dinner and be served, likes to get their nails done in some kind of way, especially if you have Leo Venus wrapped up with your moon. You also could have had a mother who projected her wishes onto you. Because of that, you represent me energy and wanting to take pride, wanting to be able to show off her children and their accomplishments and all the good things about them. She maybe could have projected a lot of things onto you on what she wanted from you, what she expected from you, how she wanted you to show up for her. That, you now maybe have an internal world where you are very protective over your own self, very protective of what you want and what you need. Because maybe you had to fight for it sometimes with your mother, because maybe your mother was all about what she needed from you, and you're like, well, what do I need from you, or what do I need from me? So there is this energy of just needing to fend for yourself a little bit. You also could have a natural state of being, because Leo is ruled by the sun. So you have a natural state of being that is very warm and attractive, and provides people with a lot of comfort as well. So your just body's natural state of being emits this energy that makes other people feel very comfortable and safe, and that's what attracts them to you. So you have that vibe. You've probably been told, people can tell you have a warm vibe, or you have warm skin, or just some type of warmth in your eyes even, or really warm colored hair. And in terms of spiritual abilities, could be one of your spiritual abilities, is the ability to project that warmth and make other people feel safe and trust you, and people feel charged by you. But I think one of the best abilities here is that Leo is ruled by the heart, and so that energy of your heart and what you feel always leading you to the right direction. It's a compass for you. Your heart is almost like a compass. So when something feels right, following the path that feels right. And when something feels wrong, trusting that, and trusting your ability to take charge and prioritize yourself and say, that's not right for me. And so that could be something that is in the bloodline. A karmic lesson in the bloodline is women who are very powerful and prideful, and going to go out there and get what they want, going to go out there and make sure their needs are met, going to go out there and build a little kingdom for themselves. Women who are very attractive in terms of easily attracting things in, easily attracting in opportunities, easily attracting in people, easily attracting in resources, things of that nature. But also women who are hardworking. They don't just rely on that either. They are hardworking, and they're going to take charge. They're going to rule. Women who have a lot of power and rule over the house, or rule over a company, or rule over their own lives, and have a lot of rulership over themselves, is something that we see in the bloodline here. Anyways, that is it for Leo moons. I hope that you enjoyed. Of course, take only what resonates. This is a generalization, and I would need to take a look at your chart in order to get an accurate reading for you. And if you'd like to book one, you can always check out the links down below and see if I'm open. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this, so that I know to keep making more content like this. Also, comment down below and let me know what your moon sign is, and what the relationship is like with your mother. I would love to read. I've been enjoying reading all the comments on Twitter. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll see you next time, Leos. Hello, Virgo moons. So we could see that you had a mother who maybe sacrificed a lot while she was pregnant with you. She was someone who was maybe taking care of other people. She was maybe having to respond to emergencies. Maybe she was in the healthcare industry. She could be someone who was maybe natural and earthy, and could have been tending to nature as well. That's another way we could see. If it wasn't people, it would have been nature and the earth. And one thing we could see there is that you may have felt, even in the womb, that your mother didn't have enough energy for you, or didn't pay enough attention to you, or wasn't focused on you. she definitely was health focused, or there was even just, if she wasn't, health focused herself with like diets, routines, or whatever, there was still a focus of health in the family and other people's health, and maybe having to take care of people who were sick. And you could maybe put a lot of pressure on yourself to do your best and do everything good, so that way you can make your mom proud and get a little bit of her attention. You could be someone who naturally cares for other people and helps other people heal. And that could be, again, due to your mom maybe taking care of a bunch of people while she was pregnant. Or you could just be taking that energy and focusing it on yourself, focusing on your own health and your own healing and taking care of your own self. You can maybe feel comforted by either the nature side of Virgo and, comforted by things that are natural and organic, or you feel comforted more by the analytical side of Virgo and comforted when things are organized and methodical. And that would be something you got from your mom while she was pregnant. She was probably very organized and methodical. She could also maybe have been very critical of herself and of other people. And your internal world could then be very critical of its own self and of other people. And your kind of like maybe natural state of being and your body could maybe experience quite a bit of stress or anxiety, maybe because of your mother always responding to like emergencies, or maybe while she was pregnant she was experiencing like a lot of stress and anxiety. And some spiritual abilities we could see here is that you could be very good at energy work and clearing the energy out of the body. That could be something you're maybe intuitively very good at, and good at knowing where the blockages are in your own self or in other people, or where the knots are in your own self and other people, and good at clearing that out, good at making yourself healthy, good at healing, good at knowing what someone needs in order to heal. Focus on your own healing as well. I think a Virgo moon is in some type of way reincarnated to do a lot of healing in the bloodline. And you could have a bloodline that is very smart, especially the women in your bloodline. They could be very smart, very intelligent, or they could be very like service workers, like gives a lot of service to people, takes care of someone else. Or they could be very health oriented people, or a karma in the bloodline could be having to organize the inner world in order to organize the outer world, having to organize the inner chaos so we can organize the outer chaos. So those could be some patterns that we see in the bloodline. And again, we'd have to look through everyone's moon sign in your chart to get a full picture of what is being passed through the bloodline here. These are all just generalizations, so take only what resonates. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, Virgos. Don't forget to comment and like and subscribe to this channel. I would definitely love to hear about what your mother is like and what moon signs people around you, maybe your siblings, have. And because siblings can view the mother from a totally different perspective than you, so they can definitely have different moon signs. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening, Virgos. Hello, Libra moons. So one thing we'd see about your mom here is that while she was pregnant with you, she may have been someone who was really well liked by people. She was maybe told she was beautiful all the time. Pregnancy maybe gave her like a glow. Like she had that warm, motherly new mom glow, I guess. And she maybe had a lot of either maybe she was involved with multiple partnerships, or she was in a partnership for a very long time, or she could be still married to your dad. The point is that these people tend to stay in relationships. So it's either they're going through multiple ones or they're in ones for a long time, but they don't stay single. They get snatched up real quick. Your mom may have also been known as someone who's really kind And there could have been even a frivolous nature to her. Maybe she liked to spend a lot, or she was just very keen on having nice things, having quality things. And so you end up becoming someone who you feel comforted by things that are quality, things that are real. Okay, real jewelry, real cotton, soft, comfy, good quality things. That kind of gives the subconscious sort of a nice, comforting feeling. I will say that you are still, I think, someone that works for what they want, but you keep what you work for. You are someone who's very good at maintaining that. And I think that maybe comes from watching your mother be frivolous, or watching your mother maybe struggle with finances a bit. You end up really striving for control in that area, and for control in just having the baseline material comforting things. We could see too that you could also be someone who likes compliments, or who, even if you don't like compliments, you just like people, because maybe while your mom was in the womb, she was receiving a lot of positive energy from people. So you could now be someone who is a people person, likes good company, maybe doesn't like to be alone that much, prefers to have someone to hang with. We could also see that in a shadow way, this could look like desperation for relationships, or there could have been a kind of like karmic pattern in your bloodline of partnerships, and maybe being codependent in partnerships, or like staying in unhealthy partnerships for a long time, or building partnerships up for like shallow reasons, not really from love, from other reasons. Or it could be this energy of being walked over by people, not standing up for yourself, not being decisive. We could see maybe there's like a family line of even people who are counselors or judges, or people who help other people make important decisions in their life. We could see that in the bloodline. Basically, people who can really view things from kind of a little bit of a detached, holistic viewpoint, where you're seeing all perspectives, all possibilities, and really making like the most balanced decision. We could see that ability in the bloodline. We could also see overindulgence sometimes in the bloodline, so be mindful of that. And I think sometimes there's some anxiety or kind of like emotional volatility here, and that's because of that ability to see things from all perspectives and possibilities. It almost creates an unrested feeling. So we could maybe see that in the bloodline as well. But your spiritual abilities, you again are someone who's cued into all perspectives and all possibilities, and that in itself is a really beautiful ability. And you can really read people well, read a situation well, strong gut instincts, very balanced inner compass that you have. And I think it's important too to just take time to like rest and relax and recharge, because all air signs can be so tuned into all the perspectives and possibilities at once that it can overwhelm them. So just make sure you're calming your nervous system, and you're calming yourself down, and you're relaxing. And we want to be mindful of partnerships, and why are we going for partnerships. I can see maybe some type of pattern there. Okay, I think that's everything I want to say for Libra. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to give this video a like and comment down below and let me know what you think of it. If you'd like to book a reading with me, just check out my links down below. You'll find my website. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Bye. Hello, Scorpio moons. So one thing we could see with your mom is that while your mom was pregnant with you, she may have gone through maybe some emotionally challenging situations. She may have kept you a secret. She may have kept her pregnancy a secret. She may have been stressed or busy or carrying the weight of other people, or maybe she felt very alone in the process. And she could even maybe keep her life a secret from you. She had a life before you, and maybe you don't know anything about that. She could kind of like have left that behind her and kind of went through a transformation when she got pregnant with you. And because of that, maybe you were there with her through the transition when she was very unsure of everything. And so there could have been a lot of paranoia or just being afraid or being stressed. And so if you are, taking in that energy, you could then have a fetus that feels very deeply. It feels all the mother's pain. It feels all of the mother's aloneness and her fears and her worries and her stress. And it harbors a lot of anger and a lot of volatility because of that. And it could direct it sometimes at the mom. You could be someone who, maybe just needs a lot of emotional healing. There's just a pit of just harbored intense negative energy like that came with you, that you carried with you as you were crystallizing yourself using your mom's energy. And that could, that pit of energy, whether it's anger, whether it's volatility, whether it's sadness, whether it's anxiousness, whatever that is, it is catalytic to your life, and it is the reason why you did a lot of things that you did, and who you are, and you are who you are. And I think there is maybe even an anger directed at mom, but there's also a protectiveness over mom and a fierce loyalty to mom as well. So you and your mom, you could butt heads, but you guys could also be very loyal to each other and very protective of each other at the same time. And I think there is this enmeshment through the hard stuff that your family may have gone through. So if we look into the bloodline, there may have been a lot of unhealthy situations or self-sacrificing people, or sweeping things under the rug and not really talking about things. Maybe pretending everything's good so the family looks good. And there's just a lot of there's a lot of skeletons in the closet. And one of your spiritual abilities is the ability to read through any bullshit, to see those skeletons. And so I feel Scorpio moon is really reincarnated to unearth a lot of secrets that's going on within the family lineage, and to cleanse that out and clean up, the womb space, because that's the space that is holding all of that, that pit of energy. And so it is important to release and to practice that with your family, to cry, to let it out, to unearth those things. And I think what you get is a bloodline of very spiritual people, very transformative people, very wise, very emotional, and emotionally intelligent as they get older too. People who really understand life, who really understand alchemy, who know how to turn glitter to gold. So there's this emphasis on truth here. And, in terms of your natural state of being, I think that sometimes Scorpio moon can sort of have an intensity within their own chemicals, within their body, their hormones, and all that kind of stuff. So I think it is important to see a professional about that, and to try to get your body back to a state where it's not so stressed, getting the nervous system back to a state where it's calm and it's balanced, having to balance the hormones, balance the emotions, balance the nervous state, balance the mind. That could be something that you have to work on, because while you were creating yourself and crystallizing, your mom's energy during a time when she was maybe very stressed. So we just have to work through that. And, these are just default settings. If there's something about your chart that you don't like, you can always work on it and change it and transmute it into something else. But yeah. Okay, so that is all I have to say for Scorpio moons. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Give this video a like and make sure to follow. And comment down below. Let me know what you think. I would love to read it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye. Hello, Sagittarius moon. So one thing we can say about your mother was that your mother, while pregnant with you, may have had to relocate quite a bit. Maybe she was on the move or traveling quite a bit. She may have been someone who was very spiritual or religious or even esoteric. She may have been a very free spirit as well. And because of that, you may have been a person who now likes a lot of movement, likes a lot of stimulation, also needs to roam free, does not like to feel caged up or locked up or held back. You may have been someone who also maybe really likes to learn and is quite confident as well, because your mother may have, been receiving all that stimulus from traveling around a lot and learning a lot and just intaking all this new information, new sights, new scenery and all that. So now you could be someone who likes that, likes to learn new information. You also could be someone who knows how to go through a difficult situation and turn it into something healthy. This could be because of watching, your mom maybe go through difficult situations, and maybe she would get embarrassed by them or something, and thus you kind of were coming in wanting to console her and kind of help her turn it into a healthy situation. Or she could have been someone who modeled that and went through dark stuff but turned it into healing, turned it into positivity, and she then taught you how to do that. One of your spiritual abilities would be astral projection, because if you have a mother that was always on the move, always relocating, your spirit may have been able to crystallize that energy, and now one of its abilities could be astral projection. And I think there's also just this intuitive knowing to just know where a good spot is or where a dope spot would be. Like, you are the person who uncovers that and finds that. In terms of your bloodline, you could have a bloodline who maybe there was a search for the home. Like, you could have had a bloodline that immigrated. You could have had a bloodline that was maybe spiritual as well, wanting to find or religious even. And there could be, or even like a bloodline of military people who are then always relocated, things of that nature. But there's this interesting karma of the home, maybe with your bloodline, and finding a home anywhere. Is there anything else I want to say about Sagittarius? It's interesting too, because one thing I could say is like your natural state of being could maybe get burnt out easily. You could be someone who likes to work in a stride and then rest, work in a stride and then rest, work in a stride and then rest. So there could be burnout that we just want to be mindful of, making sure that we do give ourselves enough time to recharge, and maybe we plan around that momentum that we're on of needing to do a good long stride and then a good long rest too. Maybe trying to surrender a bit to that flow. You could also have a tendency to run from things rather than facing it. You'd rather just leave and move on to the next thing and not deal with it, ghost the person, whatever, start over, run from it. That could create weird karmic relationships for you in the next life. So just be mindful of that. You could also have a bloodline that is very intelligent, very smart, maybe even like very respected for their smarts. Could come from a bloodline of teachers, lawyers, just well-educated people. Could be like the whole family went to a certain college and you are a legacy at a certain college. We can see that kind of stuff too with Sagittarius moon. I think that's all I want to say about Sagittarius moons. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. And you can also check my description box out down below if you would like to book a reading with me. You can see if I'm open. But yeah, thanks for listening. See you next time. Hello, Capricorn moons. So something we could say about your mom is maybe your mom was a little older than the average mom, or maybe you were raised by elders like your grandparents, maybe took care of you a lot. One thing we could see is that and because of that, because you were surrounded by people who were older, you maybe just naturally grew up fast and are kind of more mature yourself. And we could also see that your mother may have been someone who was really tough, who was really regimented. She was maybe the leader of the family, and you would watch her push her emotional needs to the side in order to get something done. So now you could be someone who wants to be the boss, who understands sometimes to get things done we need to put our emotions to the side. You could be very ambitious, and there could be a part of you that really wants to get your mother's approval and impress her, because she's not easily impressed. You know what I mean? If you didn't win, well, you need to do better next time. That's it. She's not gonna say anything else. She's gonna tell you, well, go harder next time. That's it. And so you could maybe be very strong because of your mother. She was always pushing for strength. She could have been maybe really hardworking or ambitious while pregnant with you, or the pregnancy may have inspired her to really build her career and focus on that and reach for new heights. So now you could also be somebody who has that motivation and that type of endurance. She also could have put a lot of emphasis on status and social appearances, and so you could be someone who feels that pressure, maybe in a way, to have a strong reputation and a strong status, and to work up to a big status. Never feeling content, always wanting to move up and move forward. And we could see that maybe in the bloodline there could be a history of women who married into status, or a history of women who are very mature and traditional, religious, by the book, upkeeping strong appearances for the family, educated, traditional. I already said that. Just very conscious of how they are coming off to people. We can kind of see that maybe pattern in the family, or a pattern in the family of people being very strict and really tough on each other. And it comes from a place of just wanting to motivate the other to be strong, but it could also sometimes create a craving for some softness, craving for nourishment. And one of your spiritual abilities could be definitely manifestation. You learn that there's no obstacle that you can't climb. That is something that your mom taught you. There is no obstacle that you can't climb. And so if you want it, you will get it, and you will blaze through those obstacles. You are also very connected to karma as a Capricorn. So your energy alone and storyline, you could be remembered as wow, I experienced some of my most karmic moments with that person, with that Capricorn moon. Very interesting energy there. Okay. We could also see Capricorns are old souls, so you could also just have a wisdom to you, just naturally embedded into you, or your mother or even grandparents could have embedded a lot of old just classic wisdom within you. This could have wisdom of classic music, wisdom of classic artists, wisdom of classic literature, wisdom of rules and regulations, things of that nature. Or even just wisdom about the universe too. Old ancient wisdom of the universe just embedded in you. That is something your family just knows and has carried maybe through the bloodlines. Alrighty, I think that's everything I want to say for Capricorn moons. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. And you can check out my links down below if you'd like to book a reading with me. You can see if I'm open. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Hello, Aquarius moon. So one thing we could see about your mom is your mom may have been the humanitarian. She may have been someone who was busy helping other people while she was pregnant with you, that even in the womb you may have felt that you weren't able to just get all of your mom's attention. She could have been maybe even the person who was everybody's mom. Like, she would take in all your friends if they needed a place to stay. She would help your friends out if they needed food. She would get them food. She may have just been like everyone's mom. Or she could have been maybe someone who was a little more detached from motherhood, kind of wanted to do her own thing. You did your own thing. Maybe she was a little bit cold, or she was really tough on you. She could have maybe been someone who was innovative and intelligent and explorative, or she could have been the mom who didn't know she was pregnant, and was like smoking weed the whole time. You know what I mean? So there could have been like a weird detached energy basically between you and your mom while pregnant. Either she was giving off her energy to other people and she was busy focusing on other things, or she maybe didn't know about you and was going on about life, as usual. She could have been the person in her family who like broke family traditions, who was very unique, very rebellious. She could have had a very unique beauty. So then that creates a fetus who you could be someone who maybe learned right away to push your emotions to the side in order to get things done. She could have taught you about working through a detached internal state. She could have taught you that emotions aren't here to stay. They pass and they're not important in the long run. You could have taught you to approach life in a very innovative way, in a logical way. She maybe pushed you to be really smart and talented in multiple different things, like wanted you to be the best, player on your sports team, wanted to be the smartest in your class, and kind of be a step ahead of everybody. We could see in like the family lineage that there could have either been this detached, cold, smart, scientific, mathematician, analytical nature kind of person, or there could have been the creative and expansive, innovative, rebellious, hardworking, giving and caring nature in the family line. And that really depends. Uranus is a wild card, and Uranus is a sign that rules over Aquarius. That is a wild card, so you never know what you're gonna get. And that could have been true with your mom too. She may have been a wild card. You never know what you're gonna get. One minute she's taking you shopping and you guys are best friends, one minute you guys are screaming at each other from across the house. So could have been an interesting relationship there. And as for the spiritual abilities that you got from your mom, you are very good at predicting what's next and predicting the future, because you're so good at picking up on all these little details and analyzing everything. It's very easy for you to be like 2 + 2 is going to equal 4. Like, I see the momentum that it's on, so I can see where it's all going to end. You could be very good at that. Maybe because if your mother was someone who's very unpredictable, you had to get good at predicting her. So that's kind of something we could see there. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, Aquarius. I hope that you enjoyed that. Don't forget to give this video a like and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Also, subscribe to my channel for more content. You can also check out the links in my description box if you want to book a reading with me or see what other coaching services I offer. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time. Hello, Pisces moons. So something you can see with your mom is that while your mom was pregnant with you, she may have been very sensitive. Her emotions could have been really heightened. And so you could be someone who is very emotional or who's very attuned to people's emotions, because while you were in her, you were just feeling all of her emotions and you were holding that in with her. Your mom may have been kind of like childlike in with her emotions. Maybe she didn't handle them very well, and you could have been a child that maybe had to calm your own mom down, just kind of be like, hey, it's okay, relax, like we're going to be good. Your mother could have been someone who maybe had the rose-colored glasses and wasn't really seeing things very clearly. And so now you could be someone who can sometimes have the rose-colored glasses too, or it can actually be a skill of yours where you just see through people, and you can really feel what it is that they're feeling, so they can't really hide their feelings from you. Your mom may have been someone who was codependent or just was involved in toxic situations now. So be careful of having that addictive behavior or being drawn to toxic situations. You can kind of like it, you feel at home with it and you want to like fix people up. We could also see that your mother may have been someone who's very social while she was pregnant with you. She may have been social, but then she would kind of like be off doing her own thing. Like she'd be sitting with the crew, but she'd be reading a book. And you can maybe be the same way. Like you like to be around people, you like the company, but you will go off and do your own thing. And you need that ability to free roam and, rest if you want to rest, and come out and socialize if you want to socialize. We could see in your family bloodline that there may have been sort of self-sacrificial energy, giving up your needs for someone else who maybe wouldn't do the same for you. So having to recognize that and break that. There could be like in denial energy, like people just being in denial of the truth. So there could be this focus of truth in your bloodline and letting the truth come out and creating space for the truth to come out. That's what Pisces energy rules, is the void and the space for things to be as they are. And Pisces energy is very good at doing that, letting people's energy just vacillate, letting people just be who they are. There could be a lot of intuitive and spiritual people in your bloodline. There could be lots of free spirits in your bloodline as well, especially the matriarchal side of your bloodline. Very strong, independent, powerful women. Maybe because they've had to break cycles of codependence, so they could still be in that cycle, but if they've broken that, then they would have learned how to be strong and powerful through that type of karma. We could see a spiritual ability you may have gotten from your mother is dreams, psychic visions. She could have been someone who always talked about her dreams, or she could have been someone who was very dreamy and had big dreams herself, and she worked really hard to make that happen. So now one of your psychic abilities is seeing, the truth and getting divine insight through these psychic dreams that you're having. Very interesting energy. Is there anything else I want to say about this? I think that you could be someone who feels for your mother a lot, has a lot of empathy for your mother, because maybe you've really seen her go through it, and while she was pregnant with you, maybe she was really, trying to come out of like hard times, and maybe you watched her do that. And there's maybe a part of you that just really empathizes with her, really wants to understand her, really wants to help her heal. And I think that she could be really wise. You could come from a bloodline of really, really wise people. And that could have been because they've gone through such major spiritual transformations. You could also have people who are sort of above duality, above like this or that, everything's black and white. They could just have an understanding that life's just this big spectrum that we're all on. And yeah, I think that's everything I want to say for you, Pisces. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a like and to subscribe to my channel and to comment. Let me know what you think. And if this was accurate for you, I'd love to hear your experience and add more to my research. But yeah, it was a lot of fun doing this for you. I'll see you next time. Alrighty, we have made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget that these are just generalizations, and in order to get an accurate, 100% accurate reading, you would need to book a birth chart reading, so that way I could look at all of the aspects and other houses and how things are really affecting your moon sign. Also, you would want to look at your mother's moon sign and your grandmother's moon sign, if possible, to really see what's being passed down through the lineage, and to really get a sense of what patterns are repeating. But I hope that this video opened that door to you and opened that window to you, and that you do your own research, and that this helps you heal your own family line and understand your family line a little bit better. And I hope that it helps you to heal your own self as well, and that it provides you with comforting confirmation. Anyways, thanks for listening to this video. It was a lot of fun making it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.